There will be spoilers right from the get-go in this video. I am not doing a non-spoiler section for this episode or the final 2 episodes. I'm going to see how that goes. You have been warned. Natasha Romanoff once said,
"Nothing lasts forever."
And unfortunately, perfection couldn't last. I loved the first 3 episodes of Ms. Marvel. I thought it was putting the show on track to be the best Disney Plus show. The only negatives I had were a couple nitpicks. I didn't have any legit criticisms till this episode. This is the weakest episode of the show so far, and much like most of the other shows, this highlights the Disney Plus problem with their desire to have a 6-episode format, rushing their storylines along, giving us no time with certain things we should have time with. But beyond the stuff that happened out of nowhere with zero setup in this episode, there were some things that I was just confused as to why it was happening. But I will say, the relationship between Kamala and her family, still stronger than Vibranium. Anytime they're focusing on that, I am hooked. Kamala's grandma is a big player in this episode, which I'll get to in a minute. And her grandma has this really cool line that's basically, if you've lived like I have and lost what I have, you'll learn to find beauty in the pieces. Put that on my gravestone, that's a good line. And when Kamala's mom was making accusations against Nani about why she came to America, Nani should have just said, in response to Kamala's mom accusing her of telling all these crazy stories, just responded, "We live in a world where Thor exists, Hulk exists, aliens invade every couple years, and half the population disappeared for 5 years. I ain't the crazy one." Anytime the show fleshes out little things about Kamala, I get a kick out of it. She drives again in this episode and once again puts the car in reverse instead of drive and backs it up. Those 2 food references, which I thought were pretty clever, talking about how Americanized Kamala has become and how disconnected from her heritage she is. She is confused about why sweet and sour soup is so red because she's used to having an Americanized version of it. And she is handed a bag of biryani instead of a bowl. And she asks if she whispers to the guy next to her if it's spicy, to which he says, "Try it," and then it says, she asks if it was spicy. And then Kamala tries it and ends up enjoying it. Now I will say, biryani needs spice to be good. It doesn't need to be super spicy, but it needs a little bit of spice. So if you're someone who's eating super mild biryani with no spice, man the hell up, put some heat in that, and eat it. You'll thank me later. By the way, does anyone else find it funny that Kamala has dudes falling for her left, right, and center? Every episode there's a new guy. There was Bruno, and then Kamran, and then there was the dude in this episode. I mean, I can't say I blame him because I am too, but it's funny. I wonder who it's going to be next episode. This episode starts with Kamala and her mom flying to Pakistan, and Dad and her brother aren't there, it's just the 2 of them, and her mom's like, "Yeah, well, we're mad at you for ruining the wedding, but Grandma's all old, so we're gonna go visit her." Cool, they're in. That's neat. Now they're in Karachi, or maybe outside of Karachi. I don't know, but it is confusing that it goes from like night to day in a matter of like 2 seconds. It's the dead of night. It's the dead of night when the plane lands, and the sun is way up in the sky when they get to the house. I mean, she could just live super far away, but I don't know, it was weird. And Kamala's not in Karachi for long before she gets confronted by what is essentially a ninja. He's a red dagger. He's got a little mask over his head. He's got some knives, and he's like, "I'm gonna take out Kamala Khan." And boy, does he sure struggle to take out a 16-year-old who had 2 minutes of previous combat experience in a fight that she lost pretty badly. And so they explain very, very quickly that the Red Daggers and the Clandestines, who are the people from last episode, are kind of in a conflict with each other. And the Clandestines want the bangle so they can not get back home, but bring their dimension here and conquer the world. So we're getting end of the world stakes yet again. And so they start to train her to lose her powers, and I put that in quotes because it's not really a training session. It's one shot of her figuring out something with her powers before the clandestines break in through the roof with zero setup for that arrival, and then it's just a knife fight for the rest of the episode. So what happened with the clandestines is they had been arrested by the Department of Damage Control, and they were at the Supermax prison, which has to break at least 12 laws. And by the way, that Supermax prison is in the trailer for She-Hulk, so damage control is going to be important in that too. And they're like chained to the ceiling, being tased and beaten as they walk down this hall. And then they escape very easily, and the only injury they sustain is that Kamran gets like shot with some laser cannon and he gets stunned. You know what it looked like? The stun beam was the exact same thing that the stun bolts are in in Star Wars. Like, it was that same blue beam that like hit Princess Leia. And so there's zero opposition on their way out. And then Kamran is like, he's walking out of the facility with them, and his mom is like, yo, we're leaving you behind because you betrayed us and helped Kamala. And they all leave, and all of a sudden Kamran can't walk, and he's sitting there leaned up against the wall begging them to take him. I did not like this escape. I thought it was super quick. It made no sense in the slightest. And then the clandestines teleport from there to Karachi, because it feels like 1 or 2 scenes later, they're in Karachi. They have found where Kamala is training in this city, and now they're just gonna go kill everyone. The worst part about the fight that transpires is most of the fight that transpires. I don't think it was a particularly entertaining fight. I don't think it was a particularly well edited fight. There was one part where Kamala was taking down one of the clandestines, and it's cut to a point of absurdity. It felt like a fight scene in Inhumans with how badly it was cut together. And it would have been nice if one of the sides didn't have their faces covered, because both sides in this fight are fighting with knives and they have their faces covered, and they don't have like colors to signify who's who. If you're going to cover everyone's faces, every team needs their own specific color, but they don't. They're just all dressed like normal people fighting, so I had no clue who was who. The only person I could recognize was Kamala Khan. And something this show needs to hurry up and establish is what exactly Kamala's powers are. Because right now, they feel like an ex machina. They do whatever she needs them to do. They can make a giant fist around her hand. They can extend and make a giant long fist. They can make a platform directly under her for her to stand on. They can lock doors. They can shoot a ramp very far away for a truck to go up. They can make a shield around her body. They can be a weapon. I don't get it. I really don't. She does anything that the plot needs her to do, and they need to reel that back in. Otherwise, I'm just going to be more upset that they changed her powers. I do like, though, that her outfit has significance, and this is something I'm glad they're doing. Instead of just giving her an outfit, they're giving her outfit significance. So her mask is something from her culture, and it covers her face. Not really. It doesn't cover her face. I don't know why she keeps wearing it in dangerous areas. Everyone can still recognize who it is, but whatever it is, what it is, she puts it on her face, but it's some relic, some piece of her culture that she takes with her. The red and blue obviously symbolizes Captain Marvel and her love for Captain Marvel, but the fabric that guy gives her also talks about how fabric has memory, and I'm sure her eventual actual suit is going to incorporate some element of that. Not sure what the giant lightning bolt type thing is down the middle. I always thought that was supposed to be symbolic of her stretchy power. I don't know what's going to be symbolic of in the show. And then her shoes are just kind of the shoes that she wears around, and then she has the bangle to complete the look. So I like that her costume is something important, and it's going to be more impactful when she finally suits up in it, as opposed to just getting a costume in the last episode for the sake of getting a costume in the last episode.
Oh my God, you wore it!
Yeah.
Oh my God, it looks so good. I told you. I told you.
All right, listen to me.
The last 2 minutes of this episode are very good, I will say. Kamran's mom stabs the bangle, and Kamala, like, crosses through time, has a vision through time. At least I think it's a vision. Some people have suggested it's time travel. I think it's a vision. And she finds herself in the partition period. And there's a bunch of trains, and people are trying to get on the trains. And you hear people saying, I hope there's room for us. Someone else had talked about how they have to go on the train. He can't make it on. And everyone's just grabbing everything they can and trying to get on and hoping their kids are safe and hoping their families are safe. A lot of crying. Holy shit, it's kind of rough to watch. It's very dark. And it ends with Kamala looking around and the camera zooms out. And it's just like miles and miles of people and trains just trying to get out. It was a very solid ending. It was a very emotional and just kind of impactful ending that got me excited for episodes 5 and 6. It's just a shame that the rest of the episode was so underwhelming. I just hope that the final 2 episodes of this show work. Because as with a lot of the other Disney Plus shows, there's a lot riding on these last 2 episodes. The plot of this show feels way too complicated to be able to wrap up in 80 minutes. And I think that's part of the larger Disney Plus problem with their issue of the 6-episode format. 6 episodes is a stupid amount of time. If you're gonna do 6, don't do 6 episodes. Just make it longer. I think the reason they do 6 episodes is because they want to be out and have the audience moving on to the next thing as quickly as possible. And it just doesn't work. I like when stories take time. You know the reason Daredevil Season 3 is so good? One of the big reasons? Because they take their time to tell that story. They get 13 episodes to tell that story. They're going to use those 13 episodes to the fullest. And it makes one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. Don't restrict a show to 6 episodes just for the sake of quantity. Because you're sacrificing quality. Which I know Disney's doing, and I know they're okay with doing that. Because their big approach with Disney Plus seems to be quantity over quality, which is why they keep announcing a spinoff for every character that fiction has ever seen. And if you want to keep it short, just make a movie. If you really want to do 6 episodes, just ditch that, cut out the fluff, and just make a really good movie. Because the 6-episode format has ruined The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's ruined Hawkeye. It ruined Obi-Wan. It better not ruin Miss Marvel. Alright, well, that's my rant. What did you guys think of episode 4 of Miss Marvel titled Seeing Red? I had to do a double take when I saw the title because I thought it was turning red for a second. But what did you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Also leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCHQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.